up until now, all of our examples that we've done, we've been looking for the side of an angle. Or the side of a triangle, pardon me. We've been given the angle and we're asked to find the side. Now we're asked to find the angle. So we know what the ratio is. So we know that the ratio between the opposite and the hypotenuse is equal to 0.2546, but we don't know what the angle is. So we've got a function. It's called we have three functions that we're going to talk about. They're called the inverse functions. So on most calculators, you're looking at the a second button or something like that, and then you'll use your calculator. So it's going to be second sine for sine inverse, second cos for cos inverse, and second tan for tan inverse. So here, the sine of A is equal to 0.2546. That means that A is equal to the sine inverse of 0.2546. Okay, so an inverse function just means that we did something to something. This is an undoing of our sine function. So if you're looking for an angle, you're always going to use the inverse function. So let's put that into our calculator. So we're going to say the sine inverse, so there we've got it, of 0.2546 is equal to, and I get 14.749, etc. degrees. We want to the nearest degree, so whole degree, so 14.7, that 7 tells us to bump that up to 15. So A is equal to 15 degrees. Now let's look at this one. Now we know the cosine of B is this. So that means the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse would give us 0.1598. We don't know what B is, but we can find B. We have the ratio. We're going to take the inverse of the ratio, 0.1598, to find out what the angle is. So B is equal to second function cosine and 0.1598. Again, your calculator will work the same way for these as it did for the sine and cosine. So if you had to put sine and cosine in first, you put it in first. The inverse one in first. If you had to put the number in first, you're going to put the number in first and then put second and inverse cosine. Let's find out what that is. 80.804, nearest degree, 80, and then that 8 tells us we need to round it up, so it's 81 degrees. And our last one, we've got the tan of C is equal to 3.2785, so C is equal to the tan inverse of 3.2785. So C is equal to, I'm going second function tan inverse of 3.2785, and this one 73.0, so it's just going to be 73 degrees, and that's how you find degrees using your inverse functions, or find angles.